Hey guys, I'm Elena Kotauri, and this is Voices of Lilith. Have you ever wondered how female musicians experience the world? I myself am a vocalist, a voice coach, and a guitarist. Our metal community has grown to be a diverse and highly artistic world. So, in this podcast series, we give a voice to the female musicians which create and shape our music. We dive deep into their unique experiences so you can find a way to connect to their visions and be empowered in your actions now. Let's find new ideas, raise awareness, and stick together. Are you as excited as I am? Let's hop in. Hi guys, I'm so honored to greet this special guest at my show today. She's a very versatile woman, a metal vocalist, a graphic and web designer, a video editor, and she's the owner of the e-store Sri Lankan Music. She named her band after herself, Shehara. The band hails from Sri Lanka and just released a music video, Fidelity, on YouTube, which sounds epic to me. Shehara also hold a special place in their own country since they released the first metal album ever, which is fronted by a female in Sri Lanka. So when I found her online, I could tell her ambition and working spirit are high, and I definitely had to have her in this podcast. So without further ado, a very warm welcome to you, Shehara, to today's episode. You are involved in several demanding projects, and you're also a mother, which is, of course, a full-time job, right? So on top of that, you're a vocalist, just like me. So we both for sure know that this craft takes constant practice. And how do you fit all of these activities in, let's say, a week? How do you manage your work-life balance, and how do you keep yourself motivated on a daily basis?
Well, see, like like a normal day would usually be like, handling the kids' meals to like the studies. And I'm like lucky enough to live in a garden where we have like 4 houses where all my relations live. So it's like a giant garden with like lots of trees, lots of outdoor space. So like an average day would be basically us. My husband goes to work, so it's the kids and I. Like we do everything from arts and crafts to like I'll teach them the ABCs and little writing practices, maybe science experiments and all of that.
Oh.
And that'll probably take up most of the day. So I mean, we'd go outside, we'd spend a lot of time outdoors. That's like my favorite part. On good days, we'd lie down on the grass and watch the clouds go. And we'll also visit my relations who are like right next door. So that's fun. And then in between, I try to like fit maybe if I have like an article or press something regarding press to handle that, I'll handle everything on my phone. And I mean, lucky enough, the world's at our fingertips, right? So it's easy to connect through like computer, phone. So everything's handled, like everything from my work to liaising, everything's just handled through phone. And by nighttime, we read books. And once the kids go to sleep, then I handle most of the hands-on work, like the designing work and more detailed stuff. So like from planning to scheduling, all the music stuff, and maybe every other day I'd fit in maybe like a workout routine coupled with like vocalizing and stuff like that. That would be pretty much an average day.
Well, that's very packed, right? That's a lot. So how do you keep your energy for the musical stuff, especially like in the evening?
I think the workouts help a lot. And like there have been days where I've been completely drained and I realized it's because I'm not eating right, or I'm not, drinking enough water, or I'm not, working out. So like I try to make a conscious decision to actually do all of that. And then my kids are very active as well, so they keep me outdoors. We're running outside. It's very energy packed. Keeping myself motivated, I mean, that's one of the things that I need to figure out a lot as well. But it's a work in progress. I'm learning as I go, and music always helps. So.
Yeah,
music always helps.
Yeah, it's also a therapy, right? I think that's the case for many musicians. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Cool. So how's the COVID pandemic currently relevant for your music and your work? Do you or artists in Sri Lanka overall have difficulties right now?
Yeah, like we had to cancel a lot of shows last year.
Oh.
I mean, we didn't have any metal gigs last year. It was all just acoustic stuff or like maybe open mics and stuff like that. But like lucky for me and for my band and I, we had like already pre-planned everything for the entire year, except for the shows. Like we had to obviously forego the shows, but everything from the music videos to on the online plans, I had scheduled. So like last year, in the beginning of the last year, I set a goal on recording 4 music videos in 2020. And we started off with recording 2. Right after we recorded the first half of Fidelity and another music video, we went to lockdown. So obviously we couldn't meet the video editor. So I took it onto myself and we edited the entire thing in my place. And then I also started the Sri Lanka music website. So thankfully, everything just technology, right? So everything was just had a computer. And
Wow.
like a lot of the stuff that we couldn't do, we kind of like overcame. We just worked around it. So we released 1 music video last year, and then the second one this year. Yeah.
Wow, that's so cool! Congrats. And again, lots of work, right?
Yeah. Have to work around it, right?
Yeah, constant work and practice. So how is your experience in your band if you're doing all of these projects? Because I can tell that it is hard work to keep the other guys motivated and to constantly remind everyone to do their homework, right? So what is your take on this? Are you managing it all alone in the band, or do you have support with them? How are they supporting you?
I'm super thankful that the current lineup is like, the guys are amazing. One of the guitarists is my brother, so he lives right, like we live in the same house.
Cool.
Like we could practice. It's easy that way. And like the bassist is a motivational speaker, so like I rely on him. He's motivated also. So that works out really well. And like my lead guitarist is a producer, so he's constantly with music. He's always practicing. He's always working on music. And my drummer is also very creative. So, and he lives just like a hop, step, and a jump away, so he could make it here anytime. Lucky, I'm blessed to say that it's like it worked out really well. And yeah, like I don't have to keep them motivated. They're very motivated guys. I'm really happy it's that way.
Wow, that's so cool.
They're super good.
And it's also like a little family there, right? That's like the best case you can have.
It is, yeah. Yes, yeah. Took a long time to get there.
I believe that. Yeah. I know the hardships, like creating bands and then they're destroyed and then everybody does their own thing again and you have to restart, and yeah, that's what happens, right? And
like I didn't have a band for about I think 5 or 6 years, because like the last band I had, we split up when the drummer left, and for like 5 or 6 years I didn't play a show with the full band, right? It was all acoustic shows, open mics, and we were recording the album in between. And the only time like a proper band got together was for the album launch, and we've been together since. So it's like fantastic.
That's cool. So do you guys rehearse together? Do you have a place for that?
Yeah. We rent out a studio. Yeah.
Okay, that's cool.
Trying to get back to practices now that the pandemic's on the rise again, but yeah.
Yeah, awesome, cool. And yeah, something that I notice about your videos is that there's always a dragon, which is your symbol, kind of. And it is a very dear entity to me personally as well. So, my death metal band, Crescentium, is even named after a dragon. Yeah. So I was wondering...
Oh, nice.
I was wondering, what does the dragon symbolize to you personally or to your band?
The dragon, because like I'm a huge fan of Mortal Kombat, first of all, but also
awesome.
like,
Mortal Kombat.
From small days, like my kids named Kai and Raiden as well. So the dragon personally, because like ever since I was a kid, like fire has been the element, right? The rage, the anger management, if it will. Yeah, the dragon has been the most symbolic creature for me. But if you look closely in my logo, you'll see that there's a Fibonacci spiral as well behind the dragon.
Yeah.
And that for me kind of symbolizes, going inside through all the rage, through all the anger, you go within, you resolve your issues, and you go to a better place. So that's what I want to kind of convey to my music.
I can totally relate, right? So it's like kind of like your spirit animal, so to speak.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, it's there.
Same here, actually. It also has a great mystery to me. And now something very essential to this podcast regarding gender roles in music. Most countries, I think, have some issues with inequality, right? Like it could be subtle, very subtle, or completely obvious for everyone to see. So what would you, from your own experience, say is the situation over there in Sri Lanka? How difficult or easy is it to be a woman in music? And what is the day-to-day experience of female musicians? That's a big one.
Because like for me personally, I try to deviate from all the negativity and just focus on what's good. Because for me, complaining, moping there's no point. But then these things do exist, and sometimes it's really tiring. Sometimes it's super draining. Yes. You wonder why the hell it even exists.
Yes.
For me, there have been times where just because I have been a woman, there have been times where people have been indifferent. I haven't gotten opportunities. People will look at you different and think you're not capable enough, right?
Yeah.
And like being in an industry where it's dominated by men, sometimes they forget that you even exist. That's one of the, if I could swear, it's one of the shittiest things about it, right?
Yes.
But that's something that I will keep working on, keep pushing to change, because I know there are a whole heap of women in our industry, especially in Sri Lanka, who are metalheads, who are capable of making metal music. And it doesn't matter what people throw at us. I think we should all just get up and do what we want to do. But also at the same time, for me, luckily, I had the support from like my husband, who is already in a metal band that's been around for 20 years. He's the one that helped me write the album. So I think the fact that he helped me out initially, had a lot of weight also. He supported me a lot. And then to also be Sri Lanka's first woman to make a metal album, that kind of changed the perspective. And even though, I know for a fact that itself carried a lot of weight, and it changed a lot of perspectives, and a lot of the male following kind of looked at it, Yeah. So I'm happy about that. And then it also, it inspired moms, women, and I'm so proud about that, right? I'm so happy and so blessed that happened. So, it comes with, it comes with a hard journey, but it also makes everything so much beautiful in the end.
Definitely. And I think it's also a cool symbol that you stated there, right? Like just doing it and just having the spirit. But yeah, I also think it's very important that you have this social circle around you, like you said about your husband, that supports you, and supports you in your vision. And, because I've faced very toxic people as well over here. And, there's also this thing going on that women are represented very sexually, like in metal or any other pop music genre, whatever. So I always try to not present myself so much like this, I think it's very important to, set a sign and be like a role model, if you will. So that's really cool. Also, you're a mother, and you're, putting a symbol that you can be a mother, and you can also be a musician. You can be anything if you're just, you have the spirit and you're, what you called rage, like just pushing it through. That's all. Yeah.
I like my kids to have the same kind of mentality, and not just because, like, when I was a kid, my father said, even if you break a leg, keep doing what you want, right? Keep doing what you have to do. So if you have to clean the house, keep cleaning the house if you break your leg. So for me, it's, if I love music, I will keep doing music even if I have all these stuff to handle, right? And like, I think for me, even though initially there were a lot of obstacles from, like, I recorded the album twice over. The first time I recorded it, the producer just deleted it. So we had to record it all over again, but it came with a lot of new experiences that made the entire journey so much better. And I'm happy that, like, if I look back, I can specifically say that the most, the people that had the biggest impact were actually women. And for me to actually, like, be this way, more confident, more empowered, I had a lot of women that I worked with in, like, graphic designing industry to, music, photographers. All of them were women. They are the first people to actually just, go out there and say, you know what, I'll help you out with this. Even for free, I'll help you out. And, like, that's how I kind of broke out of my shell as well, seeing how they do things, seeing how, how they help other women. That really empowered me. And that's why, like, even today, I love working with, any woman in the industry. So,
That's
yeah,
awesome.
made a big difference.
That's awesome. Yeah, I'm totally with you on this. That's why I'm also doing this podcast, right? To like empower, talk to different women all over the world and to connect, and see what are they doing and how are they handling things, And yeah, it's awesome. Really support your idea on that. So have you also faced like
Awesome.
women who were kind of like toxic?
Yeah.
So
When
how
I was very young, yes,
yeah. So how did you handle that? Like was there any like non-toxic way to handle this?
I rebelled against it. I suppose. So I was like, like me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Kept doing what I had to do. I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
it's a bit shitty, but it kind of makes you wonder why, right? We're the same gender, like why the hell? But then you realize like the reason they have that mentality is because of whatever problems they have in their life, and you can't really like give them help for it either, because all of us, we have our individual lives, we have our own problems. Sometimes it's difficult for somebody to actually look at their own problem and accept it and realize that they have a problem. So, I mean, it's important to be empathetic.
Yep.
You have to understand sometimes people come to terms with their problems, and give them time. And like, to be honest, I've seen changes in perspective when people have actually like from bad mouthing me to changing completely after they've realized what problems they have and just coming out of their problem as well. But I mean, yeah, in any situation in life, in any area in life, we all have who are a bit negative, right? But I also think that our mentality plays a huge role, because the more, what do they say? You attract the people who vibrate in your frequency.
Yes.
So, I mean, I kind of completely agree with that, because, like, the second I broke out of my negativity, the second I started focusing more on what I really wanted, the correct people actually started coming into my life. So that just changed everything.
Yeah, and also they don't have so much power anymore, I would say, because your perspective changes on things, right? Like when you used to be stuck in this cage of toxicity, then later on you just break out and you see things different and they don't touch you. Yeah, exactly. Fighting. And they don't touch you that much anymore, right? Because you understand where people come from and that they have problems, and actually everything is a reflection of how they are inside, just as you said.
It's the same with every single human being. Like, we all have a negative sides, we all have a plus side. So
Yeah.
that's how we react to it.
A dark and a light side. Yeah, definitely. So yeah, and I also think that the case with women is that they're also coined by this patriarchal perspective on things, right? Like it's not only their own problems, but also what society presses on upon them, right? Like they are taught to see women in a certain way, and I think that also influences them to see other women like something negative. But yeah, about to change that, right?
For sure. Over the generations, I've seen that we're kind of trained to think that, oh, women are bad, you need to gossip, you need to badmouth them. Oh, smile here, go there and badmouth them, right? The second they leave, you badmouth them. I've grown up with that. I've come to see that, and I've seen like adults trying to kind of embed that in kids' minds. But lucky for me, I never liked that. Like, that used to happen when I was a kid, and I used to hate that and think, why the hell do we ever do this, right? And I think it's our generation as well. And I think thanks to technology, social media, we're kind of it's kind of opening our minds to all this negativity in the world. And I'm happy to say that we are in a generation where we want to actually break out of that stereotype, right? We want the world to be better. We want to connect more. We don't want to follow in the footsteps of toxic past. So break the cycle. Yeah.
Definitely. And what you just said, like every generation is trying to, undo the mistakes of their parents. So I think this is what is happening now as well. So is the caste system still an issue in Sri Lanka? So does it have any influence on today's artistic women? What would you say about that?
I think in certain areas, it still does exist. But like, I'm not too exposed to it, so I don't really want to speak about it.
Okay.
I know for a fact that it does exist, and it's very difficult for some people, especially in the LGBTQ community. But yeah, there are a lot of people that I do know that I'm surrounded by who are working towards changing that. So I hope it, is good.
Yeah, I see. And what made you establish the online store for Sri Lankan music? Like, to me, it looks like a very unique and supportive platform to local bands, right? How was it received among bands and also among public media in your country?
For bands, like the reason I started initially was because in Sri Lanka we didn't have Spotify, and like the profits we actually get from all these online, from all the more how do you say, more famous platforms are not so much, right? We just get a bunch of cents, and in Sri Lanka especially, we don't have PayPal. We have no way of getting the income straight to our PayPal accounts. We have no way of withdrawing it. So I wanted to work around that problem initially, and then also have like a platform that could, support artists through selling their music, authorized music, to merchandise, because I had my online platform. I'm not too sure if I'm the only metal artist here in Sri Lanka who has an e-store, but when I started that, nobody else had it, and I just wanted to share that, because like, what's the point of me having an e-store and not being able to share it, right? I had my income coming in, and especially during the pandemic, I sold a lot of merch through my payment gateway, so through my website. So I thought, a year before the pandemic hit, that was my main goal, to actually open it up to everybody else. And yeah, like, I wanted to sell my husband's music, my brother's band's music, and then it kind of like evolved into, you know what, let's open it up to all the bands in Sri Lanka, all of the bands. It initially, like, for me, it is a website for metal musicians. But then when the pandemic hit, I thought, you know what, no, let's not keep it metal, let's open it up to everybody who needs it. So in the core of it, it is SriLankanMetal.com. But I do welcome any other artist as well. And it was received well from the metal community. Everything was possible online. Even like, I opened up the registration forms online through digital forms and all of that, so it became a lot easier. And yeah,
awesome. That's so cool.
It's working out. There's a lot more to do. There's a lot more to do. A lot more to work on. So, but yeah.
Yeah. That's beautiful. But you definitely have the spirit, right? That's cool. Yeah. And that's what I think is really cool. Like, you're starting the things. You're not just, talking about doing it and maybe not doing it, but you're actually you're saying that, man, I'm going to do it, and you're just doing it. Or even if it means that you're the first female fronted metal band, which released an album. So that's awesome. Like, just do it. That's the spirit.
And that I didn't intend for that to happen, but it became Sri Lanka's first band by a female. So
it's kind of like the universe threw the path at you, and you just followed it, right?
A lot of it, yes.
Cool. So yeah, where do you plan to go in the future with your projects? Like, what is the path of your band, and any plans to come to Europe sometime?
Oh, I would love to. I hope so. I really hope so. That would be insane. Hopefully, if the pandemic situation ceases, oh hell yes, we want to tour. We want to go out of Sri Lanka. We'd love to organize more gigs in Sri Lanka. But we're also working on our second album. There are three more videos to make from the first album. So we want to get that done this year, hopefully. And yeah, perform. Our next gig is on the 27th of February.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be a bit of a test run, because the country the situation is not so great at the moment. Like, we still have a lot of cases going on. Mm-hmm. But I'm hoping this is the first step to, opening up gigs and having safe gigs if the procedures are handled really well. So more gigs, hopefully tour abroad, more merch, more videos, and a second album.
I mean, recording an album is also a lot of work, and then touring abroad, I mean, man.
The first time this entire band lineup will be recording an album together. So
oh, that's awesome. Yeah. But yeah, if you have a family like that, of course, it can work. So yeah, thank you so much for your time and energy. And could you tell our audience where they may find you or where they can follow your work, or even what they might do in order to support you and your vision?
Please follow my new band page at shehara.official on Instagram, because that's like the official band page that we opened up recently. You can find me at Shehara herself. And please support our music through Sri Lankan Music, which is on Instagram. The website is srilankanmetal.com. That's where you can find all our music to purchase, my albums, my merch, to other awesome music from Sri Lankan bands. So yeah, please support us. Check our music out. Sri Lanka has amazing bands. We are like a country full of awesome metal. Most of our bands add a very Sri Lankan element to it as well. So yeah, please support.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you for taking the time to listen to my podcast. I hope it brought new insights to you and may become food for your thoughts. If you like this episode and would like to follow me along my mission, I'd be so happy about every form of support. Rate this podcast and follow me on elenakortauri.com or on Instagram or Facebook. I would love to connect with you there. Until next time, horns up.